How's it going, folks? I unmuted myself before I hit the button to switch scenes this time. I can like mark it off the wall. Developing good habits, sort of, kind of. How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to I Play Harvest Moon. because I need to go back for me, my Hero Zero. Welcome, Del Focus. This is Let's Rank almost every SNES game. And boy, I went on a journey, a short journey with Harvest Moon last time, for those who may not know from the VODs and whatnot. Hero Zero says, well, to be fair, you did play Front Mission for 3 hours, so it is still under that. Yeah. Yeah, it's true. Also, there's a new Alien movie coming out? What? They're making a new Alien movie? I didn't even know that. That's wild. But I'm into it. Sure. I'll watch another Alien movie. Actually, no, that's not true. I'm posturing on that. I didn't even see Alien Covenant, so it's like after what was the one where it was like the rebooting of Alien and it had the whatever progenitor species and it had like the had the ending where like the big wheel was of the space station was spinning and rolling and they were like running away from it because they didn't realize they could just run sideways. Prometheus, yes, thank you, Del Focus. That's it. Oh, weird. I get why, it's like, I know that movie has seen some reappraisal in recent days, but I still don't think it's that good. It's What's up, Funk? Didn't miss anything. We're just getting started. We're just talking about the new Alien movie that's probably coming out. I play Jim Power? I don't even know what Jim Power is. Oh god, yeah, Corliss loves Prometheus, right? I forgot that. Funk's just like, bad. It's very bad. Yeah, tell Corliss that, not me. It's like... Oh, sorry, you're talking about Jim Power, not Prometheus. Sorry, Funk. I don't mean to put words here. I'm guessing. Although, I don't know if you'd also be saying the same about Prometheus. Gosh. I don't know. I saw Prometheus in theaters when it first came out. It seemed middling at best, right? Anyways. Welcome back. As I said, we have to go back. I should probably do some promo first, right? Because I always forget to do it at the top of the show. If you're watching this on the VOD, be sure to check me out over here on... over here. I know how directions work. Twitch TV/RJ Lee. Come give me a follow. Maybe get a sub, helps the show out. Goes a long way. If you at least follow, that's free, right? You'll never miss when a show goes live. Of course, as always, if you have a game you want to suggest and you want me to play it like right away, I will literally just stop what I'm doing and I will play it. Assuming I'm not playing someone else's game, I will do it for a $20 tip, 8 gift subs, for 2,000 bits. Just like saying bits, like bits. Base! No, bits, please. Base, that's a different show I do with Rocksmith and whatnot. Of course, you can come check out the full SNES list of the full ranking that I've done so far at tinyurl.com/SNES ranking, where I keep that on a fancy web page from a personal website of mine. It has all time codes beside it, so you can check to see that in previous episodes. We're up to what, 17 now? Forgot a parentheses on the end of my stream title. That's fine. Whatever. Yeah, we're up to 17 parts now with 95 full games on this list, which is wild. Which is wild. Prometheus reappraisal stream when? You know, that's probably a good movie night pick, right? Community movie night. I'll plug that after. We'll get there. We'll get there. It's probably a good reappraisal movie or time for that, right? I have picks. Whatever. We'll plug that later. Let me do this show, and we'll talk about it for sure. Anyways, speaking of this list, as some of you may know, oh dear, right? Harvest Moon, venerated originator. Originator? My hero zero, you tell me if I'm wrong. Originator of the farming sim genre. One might even say it's deep roots. See what I did there? As a cozy game, even one of the coziest. You know, when people think of cozy games, I think of Harvest Moon. I don't know if it was the first. Surely there were games that were cozy before it, right? Ones that maybe were renowned as such. You think of Doomfog? Well, hey, look. What better solace could it be than me walking up to every room in a 3D space going, right? Like hitting spacebar over and over again. The grandpappy of... Sorry. Something about just saying grandpappy in that way is fitting. Let's look at Harvest Moon some more, shall we? So for those who maybe in the VOD aren't aware of, I played an hour and a half-ish plus of this game last episode. And things didn't go well. And I mostly attribute that to me going in as fresh as possible. And I wanted to go in as fresh as possible with as little other influence than what I already had, which would have been not very much at all. A lot of me just hearing people talk about this game in venerated circles, but having never tried myself. I never even played Stardew Valley, right? So what better way to do it than just to be like, I'm gonna look at the first one. And then, oh no. Big oh no. I didn't know what I was doing. Right? Shazu Lucky Hyena for that episode, who had experience playing the Game Boy version of this, which apparently is quite good from what I've been told. But I was having a very hard time with the game, right? The pacing, not knowing what I'm supposed to do, the lack of direction. So today is different. Okay. Let's load the game up, shall we? Let's go over here. Start this up. Serious fun. Thanks, Natsume. I got like the developers wrong. Oh, I gotta fix the audio balancing. One moment. That's better. Let me know if the audio is okay. Should be all right on my end, I think. Look, last time I didn't even see these cows. I didn't even see these chickens other than beyond this intro, right? No shout out for Fox Advice. Look. Mountain ghosts and stuff like that. I was very confused. However, here's what I did do, okay? I looked at some guides. I got some advice from My Hero Zero, obviously, as someone who really loves this game and also originally recommended this game for this request to be put on the list, which thank you very much for that. Let's continue the game, shall we? So, I played more of this game yesterday, all right? I progressed all the way from... So the last time we played, I was maybe like getting close to the end of the spring season, okay? Don't focus, we'll get there. Just let me explain. We'll get there. So I got through the spring season. I also even played beyond the summer season. I even played more in just getting into the fall, okay? And yes, there are harvest goddesses in the mountains, and I definitely ran into some. I learned about power berries, okay? I learned about how to get chickens going. I learned actually how to do crops properly because I was doing something as silly as throwing my crops into the pickup delivery box after 6 p.m. or 5 p.m., which is apparently a real bad thing to do. I hit the chicken statue with the hammer because, yes, I did look at a guide for where all the power berries are, which I don't care about spoiling myself with that. That's fine. I even expanded my house a little bit because, to my understanding, that's the only way to get a clock. That's so. I've done some work. Okay, we're just clear as day. The autumn. Let's take a look. This is my home. This is my grass that's clearly overgrown. Let's double check on our chickens. It's the first thing I do. I got 2 chickens right now. I had more. I had 5 at one point. But I sold some of them so I could get cows. So let's feed our chickens. To my understanding, you don't need to feed even chicks when you incubate new ones, which I was doing for a little while, but I don't want to do that right now because I only have so much feed or fodder, I guess it calls it, which I want to maintain over the course of the winter because grass doesn't grow in the autumn. I've learned so much. Okay. How much time did I put in yesterday? I definitely played this game for about 5 hours straight. I couldn't put it down. We're going to take this egg to town. I am farmer now. The farmer's despair has been reclaimed, Dull Focus. Chris grew up on a farm. From my understanding, that's true. Let's take this to our girlfriend that we're trying to woo. Oh, but she's not out today because I think it's the weekend. Well, shit. All right, well, we're going to rewind. I'm also just going to use rewind here because this game is unforgiving as hell. Okay? Yes, Ellen is, I think, best girl. I think. The inventor girl, whose name I don't recall, she seems okay. But hey, Ellen gave us our dog, right? Do it. So like, Anne, thank you, my hero zero. What's up, Princess Rie? You're only starting at 5 hours. Yeah, like, look. Also, I didn't realize time freezes while you're in buildings. Time only progresses when you're outside. I didn't realize that. That's super handy. So like, it's still 6 o'clock, which is great, right? Also, I have this, I'm just holding up in the air, this cow brush. Let's take over cows. So I have a bunch of crops, obviously, but all the crops, they're dead because it's the fall. I'm not shipping any milk yet, should note. So let's make sure we get our brush before we get near the cows, because if we accidentally hit the cows with our tools because we're trying to brush them, that will make their affection go down. So let's talk to this cow, which I named Moo because I only had 4 characters. Give me a break. Let's give it a old brushy brush. It smiles. It likes it. Here's our other cow, Moo 2. Also a good girl. You look fine today. Great. Give it a little brush. Loves it. Let's make sure we feed our cows. We got to do every day, right? Just like we fed our chickens, 1 per chicken. And that's this game, right? Obviously there's more. But like, how much feed do I have? Yeah, I love Mewtwo in that first Pokemon movie too. We only got 61 pieces, which is not a lot. I think I can still harvest this grass that's out here, at least, in time. I also got, like, the sprinkler head, which is great. You know? I'm not going to use it right now. I also learned you want to keep your animals or your livestock indoors pretty much all the time. You can keep them outdoors, but when they get wet, they don't like that, and their affection can get lost. Grass will keep going in autumn. Oh, okay. I thought it stopped growing in autumn, but it can still be harvested. All right, good to know. Good to know. Harvest it for winter, yeah. And like I have lots and lots of grass, obviously. I will probably rewind a little bit. I'll show off my farm a little bit. So I didn't overexpand. But see, I have all this grass here. And I put it all down here purposely so when I have crops, it's faster to get to the box. I kind of wish these seedlings, which I have over here, I will probably put closer to this side just so it's closer to harvest for the box, right? I thought it'd be good to have it closer to the water, but that's not very key. I should have planned that a little bit better. These were all tomato vines before. Take care and go hit the chicken statue. I did that already. My hair is 0. So you can see here, I've got 6 of 10 power berries, which I learned very quickly. This is when you eat a power berry, it goes here, right, to mark it off. So I think the only ones I have left here are the ones for like getting at the festivals. I think. I haven't. Hey, what's up, Marco? How's it going? Good to see you. Good to see you. I've definitely been down here. You know, I've gotten the golden sight. That parts of my fence are broken. I gotta fix that. I also learned this dog apparently can stay outside even in the middle of a hurricane, which is wild. I want, you know, obviously keep that dog inside. Also realize, you know, it's like I can call the dog over apparently, and it can follow me, which is fun, right? That dog is tough. You're right. I had a hurricane go through. If you noticed, this is why like things look a little patchy with my tomato vines, and it like really effed up my farm, which sucked. And it like locked me in for a day as it was happening. That was rough. And yes, there is a hidden affection meter that I learned with the dog. So I did this for a little bit just to make sure. Because apparently the affection is you have to pick it up 50 times in a game, right? Once a day? Oh, okay. I didn't realize it was once per day. I didn't read that. I thought it was just 50 times, so I haven't been picking up every day. But all right. So yeah, that's my farm, I guess. Let's load our save state back up so I didn't lose all that time. Not that it really matters. Yeah, doing dog curls. I mean, Del Focus, I'm sure picking up indie every day is not exactly the easiest thing to do in the world either, right? All right, so we fed the chickens already. You get used to it. Yeah, because you get stronger. It's like when they say like mom strength and stuff, right? From like holding a baby. I'm pretty sure I would have done this already with the cows, so. Make you think. Make you think. Also, when you get married, your wife gets mad if you stay up too late because there's also a hidden wife affection meter. So I haven't even gotten that far yet, right? It's like, also this appears to be nighttime. I don't think I can harvest this yet. No, I can't. Which is fine. Sometimes it's a little hard, I find, to make out whether or not the grass is ready for harvest or not. Obviously, it's changed seasons, so it's even harder in this case. I guess it's nighttime, so that it's like things are frozen in time right now. I can take a look at the rest of this. I definitely did the thing with... Oh, what's going on over there? Mushrooms now, right? Because it's autumn. Sure, why not, right? I did the thing with the fishing where I caught a fish and I threw it back. And then I got a power berry from that as well. Marco asked, are we at the beginning of the game? So you just missed, I was explaining, I played this for an hour and a half last episode. And did not rank this game very highly as a result. Right? 75 out of 95. Not very good. Because things didn't go well. I was not a fan of how obtuse this game was out the gate. I was not a fan of the extremely slow pace. Let's eat a mushroom. Because who cares? Even something as simple as like the amount of time I have in a day was too much time pressure for not understanding what I should do every day. And by the end of it, I forgot there's also a poisonous mushroom. By the end of the day, I didn't feel equipped to give this game not only a good ranking, but I didn't feel equipped to pass judgment. But I did anyways, knowing that I was going to revisit it today. And I played the game more in my off time, where I dropped like 5 or 6 hours straight into this game yesterday. I couldn't stop playing it. Right? I think this is the actual next day that our save point was actually at. Actually, let's do what we were doing before. And yeah, my heroes, you're right. This game is... Oh. Give me something to eat. Okay. How about, Alright, well, let's go get you a mushroom then, shall we? I think this gets me something good, right? Or should I feed them a fish? I think a mushroom is fitting, right? Mushroom! Don't eat it. I think if I give this little dwarf fella a poison mushroom, he won't like that very much, obviously. Here you go, buddy. Don't do that. Take a look in the shed tomorrow. Okay. Thank you. Can I harvest this now? No. I don't think I can. Maybe this one? Yes. Great. This does not look harvestable yet, but this one does. Okay, dog. Get out of the way. Great. Got some more feed. It's good. Go take care of our cows. Yeah, and the fact that this game doesn't have like an inventory, I think is like super weird. I don't like that very much, right? Aside from everything else that I had mentioned already. But here's the other thing that I've quickly realized about this game, right? Like, it's incredibly charming, right? Look at these cows, right? When they smile, when you give them a little scrubby scrub with the brush, right? That's great. Right? Look at these chickens. Look at these chickens, right? Cows are better than Stardew? I wouldn't know because I didn't play Stardew Valley, right? Should I? I don't know. So that's the other thing, right? I know these games aren't for me, necessarily. Focus says, I mean, Super Godzilla gives you a big grin, too. Look. What day is it? Okay, it's Sunday. 1 o'clock. Let's get this egg tour to Ellen. She should be at the church, right? Because Ellen likes eggs. Because she's one of the cooks at her family's restaurant, right? But I think today she's hanging out around the church, probably. Even though she's not hyper-religious, I don't think. There she is. Hey, Ellen. Yeah, she made me a cake once, and I tried it, and she's like, it's cheesecake! We sell it in our store. It's also like her father is an alcoholic, unfortunately, which is why she comes to the church to pray for her dad, right? It's neat. It's neat. And yes, very footloosey kind of town. But dull focus. But there is dancing in this town, right? Yeah, sorry, my hero zero, you're right. It's juice. Juiceaholic. It's no alcohol in this town. It's juice. She's bored. Yeah. I hear you. I hear you. This priest is like, whatever. Have sympathy for people. He was the same as her. Yeah, okay. Sure. Why not? This thing says, now let's pray here. I don't know if you actually do pray or not, but my hero zero, you tell me if that actually matters or not. I don't think it does. Here's her dad. That's Ellen's dad. Let's go for a walk. He's still quite wobbly though, so hey, look, you know. You're praying? No? Okay, yeah, I figured as much. Let's see what oh, they're closed, right? I want to say Ellen's heart meter is not all the way maxed out for us to get married. Or sorry, it's clearly here high enough to get married. It's only 1,000 gold? Okay, yeah, we'll buy. Should I buy this now? I guess I could. I don't have to give it to Ellen right away. Oh no, I do, because I don't have an inventory system. My hero zero. I'm also aware. Okay, I'm going to pause this really quick. I don't know if time is still going while I'm in dialogue or not. My hero zero, you tell me if this is true or not. So I'm aware of, I guess you could say it's an exploit, right? To like, oh, it goes into the shed? Okay, that's good to know. Because I know there's an exploit where you can essentially boost hearts with your, you know, partner of choice when you run into them and they ask you a question, right? And when they ask you a question, depending on, you know, which yes or no you choose, it can boost your relationship with them. And then all you have to do is like go into a new room or a new building or off map and then back in and then talk to them again. And they will basically ask you that question again, in which you can infinitely boost up, not infinitely because there's still the progression of time you have to deal with, but it's like, you can like just keep answering the same question over and over again to boost your relationship with them. And in this case, it's like, that's what I did to get Ellen's meter up, so I don't have to like worry about gifts as much, I guess you could say. Anyways, we bought that. So I guess if that goes in the shed, we'll just do that later. Because we have time, right? I think I can go fishing still in the autumn, right? Yeah, okay, let's do that. Yeah, I want to fish. It's like a good way to get money. It's getting dark, so this actually won't count for anything. So let's not do that then. Because basically, like, just throwing the fish into the sell box, if I don't get it by 5 p.m., it's not worth it, right? You get nothing from it, which I hate, right? I don't think that's a good system. I think it tells you that it's important. But it'd sure be nice if that thing told me, it's like, hey, if you don't get that thing in there in time, like, it's toast. It doesn't mean anything, because there were endless amounts of turnips I was throwing in that box after nighttime, which is now, right, at 6 p.m., right? Where it's like, well, if it's in there, it's not going to get picked up in the morning. It doesn't go until the next day at 5 p.m. So that's sucks. So I didn't realize I'm supposed to like leave things on my plants until literally the next day, right? Yes, this is basically Stardew Valley, right? Like very much so. Anyways, so we've done everything there is to do today. I guess we could go chop some trees to get some more wood. I do. Oh, no, wait. No, I need to replace the fences, right? I forgot about that. Let's do that. Let's put this brush down for now. We'll come back and get it. I also didn't realize that, yeah, like time stops at this point at 6 p.m. So you want to like get all the chores that are important to that, to like, you know, that don't have a time limit to get them done in the day, to do them at this time of night, right? Also, making this fence is a pain in the ass to get logs all the way from up here and to bring them all the way down. Oh god, I missed. Del Focus asks, do you get longer days in summer and shorter in winter? No. In fact, you don't get to know what time of day it is, or exactly what time of day it is, until you get the first house expansion even, which is annoying. So like here, I can see what time it is. If I didn't get the house expansion, apparently in my first year of playing this game, you never get to know what time it is other than just looking how much light there is in the day. Super annoying. Like a lot of things in this game. Super annoying. Just things it doesn't tell you, right? So like out the gate, I would just assume right now it's nighttime and that time is still progressing until night. Which is why before I was like so pressured. I'm like, do I have to like really get home now? Or like, what do you want me to do, right? So now we're just getting more wood because you need 250 wood, I think, to get upgrades, right? Also, you don't want to chop trees. You just want to chop tree stumps, apparently. Also, eating these mushrooms will give you back some stamina, which is good. Don't eat the poison one, though. Oh, I took an extra swing at that, which would have cost me some stamina. It's very weird, this game, right? I'm not saying everything needs to be explained to a T. You know, there is fun to be had in the discovery of things and the joy of the surprise, right? But there's, yeah, like being the first one of these, I think it's interesting at the very least, right? Much more interesting than, say, being rated at number 75 out of 95. So I can say that much. But you're right, Mahirzuru. Like, it's very clear how many, like, quality of life upgrades could really, really push this into a different stratosphere, right? Which I'm assuming, and of course, in new mechanics and stuff like that. But it's also like super impressive for what they have here on a 16-bit system, right? Which I will not take away from that. Great. I know at some point, I think an earthquake will happen and that rock will get removed and then I can go over there, right? I think I've done everything I can do. Let's go back home. Pretty soon? Okay. I'm assuming that earthquake is also going to like F up my land here in some shape or form, right? Let's double check. Yep, did that already. $84. That, I don't know if that'll last us. It's technically 4 pieces of feed per day. We still have the full month to do harvest for grass, right? That should be fine. Debating if I should buy another cow, basically. If I'm not mistaken, I've seen guides recommend 1 plot of grass per animal, which seems under what you should really get. Because right now I have like way over, right? Like I have 5 plots of grass here, 3 over here, so that's 8, 11, and then like a whole bunch more. So I just know I can't buy more grass. So like before fall hit during the summer, I was like just planting as much grass as I possibly could, knowing that this would be a thing. And yeah, the animal vendor does sell feed in emergency, so just in case, right? All right, let's get the brush back. So here's the other thing too, my heroes. I don't know if I want to do the marriage thing yet, right? Because that's just like another onus that I have to deal with. Granted, it's like, I know it's also one of the other like side objectives to the game to like get married and start a family, which is hilarious. Kind of like very trad. Whereas me, it's like maybe it's telling of me, a person who's not married, right? It's like, where I'm just like, no, the farm is important. Right? It's like, it's very telling of my motivations, I think. We're just like, I don't want to come home by 5 p.m. I want to stay out all night and farm, right? Let's go to bed. I think I fixed all the fences, so we should be okay. Yep, all right. Let's check the weather. Great, everything's all clear. 4th should be a thing that says, I know, oh right, I was looking for how much money do I have again? Merzer says, the best ending is married with 2 kids, high affection with wife and dog, and 4 cows and 4 chickens, and the farm with like 80% coverage. Okay. Yeah, I clearly have my farm is fairly compact, all told, right? It's like, I'm guessing any further expansion I do will be either just for more grass. And like, here's the thing with like the plot of land, right? Being able to harvest all of it in time, like the amount of like tomato plants I have already is already the maximum I can like harvest in a day to get it all into that box by like 5 p.m. right? I do know I will get a horse soon, which becomes like a mobile I can like put the produce into the horse's pockets essentially, right? Instead of into the delivery box, which should make things faster. But I find the game extremely hard already to like get everything in there in time to make it count, at least, right? So otherwise, like grass is easy because I can do it at the end of the day, right? Take care of these cows. I could probably get another cow or 2. How much money do I have again? I forget. Okay, I don't have enough money for a cow anyways right now. Hello, Mutu. Let's make sure I have our brush selected, not our scythe. Alright. Good girl. Let's feed. Okay. Zero says, you always do crops first since time stops in barns. Yes. That's the other thing I realized. It's like, hey, any work I do in here, right? Like, I don't have to worry about the time. So, it's like, technically I could always do this at night as well. It's like, I don't have to worry about crops right now, obviously. I guess I can check the grass, right? Does this look harvestable? I don't know. It's too hard to tell. Especially even in this time. I haven't been able to like reconcile it by looking at it yet. So like I just kind of take a swing at it and hope. No, I can't. And that's the same color-ish, so I'm assuming I can't. Guessing I can't with this. Assuming I can't with this. Yeah, so that's fine. Oh, I got the golden hoe, which is great. I've never used that. I think it does the thing in a line instead, I think. Let's check on the chickens. Okay. Then 6x1 line. Okay. Then let's take this egg. Wait. Shoot. No, don't pick up the egg yet, because I can't put it down either, which is also another thing I don't like. It's like if I pick that egg up, like what I really wanted to do was this, right? I know I could have done this at the end of the day as well. But it's like, if I pick this up, it's in my hands now. If I put it down, it breaks, which sucks. Like, again, quality of life things, which I assume get fixed in later parts of the game, right? Let's take this to her girlfriend. She loves the eggs. What's up, Ellen? Yeah, you can make cake every day at this rate. Just always be careful so you don't get sick. Yeah, that's nice. Alright. Yeah, she loves eggs.
Check this out.
Nope.
This is Cocaine speaking.
Not even close. Nope.
I love eggs.
There it is. That's what I'm looking for. It's 5,000, right? Yeah, it is 5,000, so I can't do that. So, no, not right now. This music also is burned into my brain. Let's double check. I was trying to do this before, but everything was closed. What's up, y'all? Let's go creep into our girlfriend's diary to see how much she likes us. Okay, 6. What's the maximum on this, My Hero Zero? Is it 9 or is it 10? Or is it more than that? To get the kids ending. Do you remember? I think it's... I want to say it's 10, right? I think. Let me double check that really quick. Marriage. When you see 6 hearts on the diary of your girl, that means you're eligible to buy the blue feathers, yada yada yada. I could have swore there's something in this guide that I got here that talks about kids. I have like 2 separate guides going for this because... Sure. It's like some of these guides are a little incomplete. This fandom guide is not incredible, I'm not gonna lie. Harvest, Moon, SNES, Maximum Hearts. I think it's 11 hearts, maybe? Perfection rate, the diary will show 10 hearts. Okay, so it's 10. It is 10. Good to know. It just means I have to find her on another day where she'll ask me a question about, like, her dad. Where she's like, can you be nice to my dad? I'm like, yeah, of course. Or her uncle. Or something. I think it's her uncle. Her uncle, which owns the livestock store, essentially. I'm like, yeah, I'll be nice to them. Can't buy any seeds. And here's the other thing, too. It's like, I've removed a lot of the necessity to even, like, go talk to anyone else. Because I'm only focusing on Ellen, essentially, right? Because it's like, what? I don't have a reason to raise affection with anyone else. I didn't even realize that, like, hey, giving, like, yeah, something to her uncle doesn't even matter, right? So then, like, in some ways, me checking all those guides and whatnot has put me in a position where I'm like, great, I know how this game works. Great, we got a fish. But on the other hand, I've also destroyed a lot of the discoverability for myself, right? And that's the tension I'm having this game in a modern context, obviously, where, yeah, it was like, you know, Ellen was saying like, hey, can you, like, be nice to my uncle? I know he's pretty prickly. And I'm like, okay. So, like, I gave her uncle, like, a fish. And apparently that does jack shit, right? Oh, I can't get another fish at this rate, so let's see if we can rush this mushroom back and get some money out of it. I locked myself out of the house upgrades because a carpenter hated me. In Friends of Mineral Town? Punish you for not being friends with people. Yeah. Like, that's neat, but also there should be limits on that in some way, I assume. Or at least something that's recoverable, right? My Hero Zero? I assume as much anyways. All right, let's double check, make sure I did everything today, because I always forget. My memory is also bad, so that's right. I did this already. I don't need to do this. Let's double check our fence really quick. Okay. Fence looks good. Get this weed out of here. Hey, dog. I also didn't realize, because the game didn't really tell me until I think Ellen made note about it, like much later when I developed a relationship with her, that it was like, hey, your dog will, like, absolutely deter wild dogs, which I'm like, there are wild dogs? What are you talking about? Because I was wondering why my fence was breaking in places all of a sudden. And it's like, yeah, because wild dogs apparently get them. So I'm like, okay, if you say so, right? What should I do? I guess chop some more wood, right? Yeah, and fences break after weather events. That I understood. Yeah, wild dogs love eating fences. They're trying to get in, right? So, like, I didn't even know. My heroes are, you tell me if I'm wrong with this, but, like, if my farm wasn't, like, fully fenced in a way, does that matter? Like, will wild dogs try to eat my crops or something like that, right? I don't know. I didn't see anything in guides about that. Also, I shouldn't have moved. Damn it. I have to hit this thing all over again. Don't believe it does. Okay. I'm guessing, like, the fences are probably more for keeping your livestock in one place, right? I'm assuming. But, like, that's why you have, like, that bell tool to call, like, cows over and stuff like that, right? Which I don't do anyways, because I'm keeping them inside, which is much smarter, right? But that's this game, right? I did this basically for 5 hours yesterday. I mean, I think it's because I'm in autumn. I don't have as much to show off, obviously, right? But I mean, like, doing all the crop work and whatnot, like, that was busy as hell. Like, days where it was like, oh God, I have this event I need to do today. But today is when all my tomatoes or all my turnips came in and I have to, like, get them to the box, which takes me a full day anyways of labor with time progressing. But I, didn't have time to go, give something to Ellen or something like that. But that's farming, right? That's this game. But this game in particular is a bit of a challenge for me, at least, I think, because with these kinds of games, I get FOMO very easily, right? like my brain wants to min-max a game as much as possible so I'm not missing out, right? And so like in lieu of that, I'm always trying my best to like get as much possible as done, and that makes me want to like look up guides and stuff like that, which is not always a great way to approach these games sometimes. This game is particularly challenging in that way because of all the limitations of it being the progenitor as well, which I'm not going to take that away from it, right? But even when I look at a game like, say, Elden Ring, which I haven't played yet, right? Which is on my list. We know this. Or Armored Core 6, which again, another game that's also on my list, right? I look at games like that and I'm like, where do I start? Right? And yes, like I've mentioned before, I'm more than happy to like talk to people or to like, you know, find that line for like what's a good place to get direction as part of the game and not let it detract my experience, yada, yada, yada. Yes, I remember that piece exactly, Del Focus, who says there was that aftermath piece about how reading too many guides ruined Stardew for the writer. Absolutely. In fact, I even have... Gosh, where is it? Just indulge me for a moment. On my website. Let me make sure. I don't remember the URL to my own website. Jesus. I think that's right. Nope, that's not right. It's the Devil's Haircut. Thank you. I wrote a blog way back. Is it even screen sharing? It is. Oh, my thing's in the way of it. Hold on. Let me hide that. Nope, not that. Nope, get out of here. 1 second. So I wrote these blogs way back. You can see here, 2011. Oh my goodness. I wrote kind of like my own blog here when I was trying to figure out how to be like a games writer of sorts, trying to figure shit out, right? And I was writing this about Terraria, which obviously, you know, not Stardew, but 2011, this would... Oh, good Lord, Del Focus, don't. Just stop. In 2011, this would have been right when Terraria came out. And I would also say, like, this is when, like, obviously Minecraft was still not in its nascency, but, like, Minecraft was a game that you had to buy from Notch, which, fuck that guy. But also, like, you know, this was before Microsoft had bought out Minecraft even, right? I maybe shouldn't have said ineptly. That's maybe not even what I need to say. That I literally could just type. When you're... Don't look at old writings, because you'll constantly criticize yourself and say, like, I should fix that. But long story short, what I was writing about was basically the exact same idea, right? It's like, hey, you know, whether or not you find this rewarding or fun is all up to you. You should be able to find your own fun in it, obviously. But don't look up anything online if that's like what you want for yourself. And obviously this also ties into, you know, what is this in like 2011, like this was before we had a lot of even like really deep discussions about spoiler culture, right? Like I don't even think most social networks even had things like spoiler tags, you know? at most you would find spoiler tags on like forums, I think, in like, you know, versions of like V Bulletin and stuff like this, which, oh my God, V Bulletin. I'm so old. God damn it. Let's go back to the gameplay. Nope, not that one. There we go. But yeah, like, long story short, like, I would say I ruined my Terraria experience in a way. But ruined is such a strong word, right? Where it's not even me ruining it, but I'm changing the experience to something other than what might have been. And I say might have, very importantly, might have been the artist's intention, which I would like to capture as much as possible. But being, of course, being art, right? It's, once the art is out in the wild, it's not for the artist to control, right? So I'm just partaking in a different experience, which is absolutely legitimate and absolutely okay. Be no different than, like, you know, using cheats in a video game per se, right? But it brings about the notion of like, okay, is this actually a good experience for me to do, right? So I feel the same way about Harvest Moon in the same way right now, which I think is an interesting conversation for a game that's obviously, you know, dates all the way back to 1996. But also, like, in a modern day context, sometimes that's intentional, right? Like, some games are built to have those kinds of communal experiences built around them. It's just a matter of how those communal experiences are formed. So for instance, yeah, like if I read a bunch of guides, which are obviously capitalism driven, but also shout outs to guide writers, incredible backbone of obviously the video game media industry, right? It's a whole genre now. Yeah, you're right. You're right. It's like, what's the term I'm looking for? It's like when something's like very much in the moment or in the now, right? To experience. There's a term for this. Maybe some you might know. Zeitgeist. Thank you, my heroes. To be in the zeitgeist is very important, right? And that's very cool on its own to create something very, I don't want to say fleeting, but like something that like has a time and a place. Like that's tangible, right? You might say that that may date an experience because yeah, like I'm coming back to Harvest Moon after never having an experience before, but it came in like 1996. So what was the zeitgeist like for back then? Do I want to re-experience that, or am I trying to build something new on it? Because I'll never be able to really experience that zeitgeist ever again, as much as I tried on my first attempt on Tuesday when I played this game for an hour and a half. And I find that fascinating because I was having a horrible time very clearly, right? Granted, I would have had at least a video game manual, right? But yes, my heroes, you're absolutely correct. It was just like that backlog review, which you wrote, which was excellent, right? The Ghost of Now. That's a very poetic way to put it, Dull Focus. I love it. I find that fascinating. And that's the main reason why I try to limit so many things when I went into playing this game on Tuesday, because I wanted to try to at least get a glimpse of that, right? Knowing that, yeah, I can come back to it after the fact and do all the looking at guides, talking more with, you know, folks who are very familiar with this game very clearly after, you know, knowing how beloved it is and whatnot. So again, my Hero Zero, like I was saying before at the beginning of the stream, right? This very much was a for me thing, so you don't have to, as much as the bit is, yes. Okay, Cal, come back here. I'm trying to talk to you. There we go. As much as the bit is, yeah, I put this game at number 75, right? for the 1.5 hours that I played. Now, having put in another 6 hours, obviously, I have very different feelings on it. Whether that's the chasing of the purity of the experience or the manifestation of this game's legacy to today, right? Which I think is as equally as important in a way that I would never want to take away from for people who enjoy this game, and also for me to understand it better, right? And again, that's not just me going through the bit of taking my list very seriously. That's education on my part. So that I find extremely fascinating and approach in mind when I look at a lot of games, whether they're old or even new. So, oh, I shouldn't have sold that egg. I was going to give one to Emma. That's okay. Anyways, let's harvest the rest of this grass. I think I can pull some of this out of the ground, right? Let's harvest this grass and then call it a day. I don't think I can get that stuff on the right. Yeah, there we go. Great. Great. This doesn't look harvestable. Not yet, at least. Right. Let's get the axe back. I don't think Ellen likes mushrooms. Let's go see if we can talk to her at least. Let's get her a flower at the very bare minimum. I think it's like that's an okay gift for her at the very least, right? If there is even one, or might not even be one. Let's give her a fish. She'll like a fish. Let's get her girlfriend a fish. A fresh girlfriend. I mean, hey, if I had a partner and they show up one day, it's like, look what I caught you today. I'd be like, that's incredible. You know, get you someone who will catch you a fish. Zero says, I do find that the best games are the ones that make you feel something bigger and more philosophical about them than what the game is about, regardless of whether the game is good or holds up. I agree. I highly agree. Hey, Ellen. Great. Cool. How much money do we have? Not enough. Well, ideally I should be catching more fish and throwing them into the sell box. So let's see if we can catch more fish before the day ends. I mean, ideally, yeah, which is scary how much this hobby is not about that. That's, My Zero, what you're talking about is the intersection of capitalism and art, right? It's exactly what that is. Oh, I caught a boot that time. Let's rewind. Because I don't want to wait for another fish attempt. Come on. Nope. Nope, it's a can still. That's a boot. Nope. Damn it. Come on, just give me it. Just give me a fish, you son of a bitch. Oh my gosh. I don't know how this works all the time. It's like random, but it's also not. It's just annoying. Well, we didn't get a fish before nighttime. That's fine. Damn it. Oh, whatever. Let's have the axe, right? Oops. Let's chop this wood. I'm gonna need more of it. I want to expand my house even bigger for kids, right? Okay. bot showing up in my chat. Love to see that. Love to see that. Let's take care of that in a sec. Zero says, yeah, I mean, partially that, but I also think a lot of people who play games aren't playing games to confront bigger ideas. Like they are purely socialized games or, you know, other reasons games are made. Yeah, and those reasons are still legitimate, right? I never judge anyone for that. You take what you need out of this hobby, right? And yeah, I knew you meant that's not a criticism for sure. So it's just like when I know Dan Reichert likes to use this terminology when he calls games a Dewey game, right? Versus a talkie game. That's fine. You can believe that. Do I think sometimes Dewey game? Thank you, Chris. Thank you. Sometimes I think some people tend to espouse that in a way that is making games look illegitimate, which I think sucks, even if you're doing it for entertainment purposes at times. But that's just me, in my opinion. Because I think some people take those comments out of context, and that's not very cool. And it will weaponize that in ways, especially when those beliefs are held against people of marginalization. Just my 2 cents, however. Just my 2 cents. Right, I did this already. Okay. Let's go to bed. Honk says, I just found a Doom WOD in the new version that I played when I played a ROM of this. Not this game, but the GBA one. That's weird. Let's throw a save state down. That's Harvest Moon. I like this game. I like this game. I appreciate this game much more after having spent more time with it, very clearly. Or I have much more to say about it. For sure. Yeah, my hair zero. Me too. Me too. I derive a lot of joy out of it, for sure. For exactly those reasons. All right. Where are you? Harvest Moon. Oops. Oop. There we go. Harvest Moon, number 75, huh? That's a bit low. It's a bit low. In my opinion now. After spending, let's say around what, 8 hours with the game so far? How long have I been going so far? Okay, we just went probably just over an hour. I'll say a nice round 8. I think Harvest Moon is better than Pack in Time. Apologies to Pack in Time. I also think Harvest Moon is better than Final Fight. Apologies to Final Fight. Justice for Final Fight is growing ever more something that's going to be in the background, right? Long says Doom WOD from 2000-something while I was in Harvest Moon era. Had a WOD browser. That's neat. Maybe this is Justice for Final Fight? I don't know. Final Fight's really good, Chris. It's really good. Again, it's me liking a game versus where it ranks. Two separate sides of the story, right? Yeah, and then I'll try to do another Justice for Final Fight episode, and then y'all gonna be like, Stone Protectors, though. And I'll be like, Angus had a gun. And then Liv will pop in and be like, Power of the Stones glow. Right? I think Harvest Moon is better than Joe and Mac. Another My Hero Zero game that I know that they enjoy. I think Harvest Moon is better than Ken Griffey Jr.'s Baseball. I think it's also better than Street Fighter Alpha 2. A game that I know I need to re-rank. What if they gave Ellen 2 swords? Would that make it better or worse than Harvest Moon? No swords. A sickle, though, right? Get a sickle in Harvest Moon. Really? Let's get that gold one, too. You do that like 360. You really F up that grass real good, right? Harvest Moon is better than Disney's Aladdin. Yeah, it's like that wind up, like a baseball bat, and then they get like kind of dizzy for like a half second, and they're off step, and they're like, oh gosh. And then if your stamina sucks from doing it, then they actually like fall over and be like, I'm so EP now. It's very charming. I need to find a limit. Where's the limit? I don't think Harvest Moon is better than Uniracers. I'll tell you that much. Okay. I don't think it's better than... Is it? I don't think it's better than Super Castlevania 4. I don't think it's better than Final Fight 3. I don't think it's better than NHL 94. I think it's better than Zen Nihon GT. Oh gosh. Is Harvest Moon better than NBA Jam? Is Harvest Moon better than NBA Jam? Arguably one of the most iconic basketball games of all time. Arguably, right? Actually, no ifs and buts about it. It is the most iconic basketball game of all time, right? I'm sure some people that are like real 2K sickos will like obviously go off on that just because NBA Jam's an older franchise and has come out with a new version in a very long time, yada, 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 right? Is 100, yeah, even in the sports context, possibly one of the most iconic sports games of all time, regardless if I'm even looking at the SNES version or arcade version, right? Or Genesis, whatever have you. I think most people played a lot of sports games on the Sega Genesis, mostly more than Super Nintendo, right? But I am looking at the Super Nintendo version of NBA Jam, and it's not quite the one that you want. The arcade version is just so stellar. Big. Bring NBA Jam at home is a little bit thin. Congratulations, Harvest Moon. You're the new number 29. That's huge. Jumping up, what, just under 50 places? Jeez. I did not think it would actually jump up this high, if I'm being quite honest. But yeah, I think it's up there. I'm glad I gave it more time, My Hero Zero. I thought an hour and a half would be good enough, but I knew, again, there would be struggles given, you know, the quality of life issues. I knew there would be struggles with how many systems there are, which aren't that many, but they're just very they're really intense, right? But at the same time, they're not. Because it's not like, you know, if you're playing this game for the first time, you don't even know that there's like endings. You only have that vaguest idea of the story for like, hey, you know, you have 2.5 years to make a farm before your dad comes back around and say, how's it going, son? Are you winning, son? Are you winning at farming and life and getting married and yada, yada, and all this stuff, right? And like, I didn't even get to all the other like festivals and stuff, which are like the unique events, which are interesting. But again, it's like, if I was playing this game on the regular without all the guides and stuff, I would be having a miserable time. I would be. It'd be a different time. But I also know this game is not for me, right? So like, when I brought up that Terraria article earlier, which, thank you, Chris, for mentioning again that Aftermath article, I definitely highly suggest people go seek that out. Shout out to Aftermath, obviously. There's a lot of, like, I could imagine a lot of people failing at this game. Obviously, the same way as that I kind of was not getting it out the gate and either dropping it or falling in love with it and then replaying it endlessly to find all the cool little stuff out of it, right? Like My Hero Zero, which I understand now. Again, but for a game that's not even for me, even I can respect what it's trying to do, what it did, and the legacy it set off, for sure, right? Way to go, Harvest Moon, number 29. Great job. Let's play another video game, shall we? Let's take a look here. Try and get this. Apologies. Me too, My Hero Zero. Me too. So much so that, like, I'm thinking about clearing off. Like, I've reached the maximum for, like, the number of emotes that I can have. But there are emotes that definitely, like, people aren't really using that are just there for me. Like the jazz emote and stuff like that. No one really cares about it. I just think it's funny. Also, that's just me thinking the jazz pattern on solo cups and, you know, as a design thing is funny, but that's me, right? Which is fine. But like, I think about like clearing off some of those and then like throwing in other claps from Smash Brothers Ultimate. Like there's one that like Bayonetta does that is incredible, and Bayonetta is like doing the most sarcastic clap you've ever seen in your entire life, and it makes me laugh every single time. Let's look at this game, shall we? Hey, remember this? That honk? It's another game that we've looked at before. Where did I put Stunt Race FX? Number 44, part 15, so 2 episodes ago. So shoutouts to, I think it was I Want to Complain on YouTube, which is, again, a very funny username, all told, right? Who says, I said this in other episodes, but coming back to it, who says, the version of Stunt Race FX you played was a ROM hack overclock version. It's running the game faster. But that also affects the steering and braking in unexpected ways. And I was like, huh, I didn't realize that. So thank you very much for that comment. So now let's look at this pure revision of the US version of Stunt Race FX. Now, it is worth noting, the main reason I was struggling a lot with that last game, I was using the coupe, right? Use the same thing. I don't care about my input. It's fine. The same tracks. The biggest struggles I had with this game was the braking felt really weird, right? The frame rate is whatever. It's bad. We all know this. But apparently, that last version was so screwy that that's why I was getting dropped inputs even in controls. And I immediately, after reading that, oh gosh, I should pay attention. Oof. Immediately, as I was reading that comment, I tried it out and I downloaded a new version of this game. And this is actually so much more playable. Also, I need to look at the race sets in front of me. Like, if I'm being quite honest, I can't tell that this is any slower than the quote-unquote overclocked version I was playing. Maybe like very, very slightly, if I'm being honest. Enough to matter? I don't think so. Again, that could be just an emulation thing, right? But here's the other thing. I tap the brake and it actually slows down a half decent enough bit so that I'm not like overcorrecting into every turn when I hit the brakes. Oh gosh. Except that time. Like, it actually feels appropriate now. It feels responsive enough. I'm not getting weird dropped inputs anytime the frame rate dips in a real bad way, right? It feels playable. Long story short, does that gold thing come at me any... Oh, right, these bots. I should take care of those, right? Hold on a moment. Hold on. Forgot about that last one. Redo. Get out of here. It probably, like, it only probably looks like it plays better because I'm not struggling with it other than me trying to stream and play it at the same time, you know? Right, got all that extra time. I'll take it. I don't remember there being a boost in this game with that Get out of the way. With you know, how to get like a boost start. I don't remember that. You know, this still looks framey as heck. It looked framey as heck in that overclock version, probably as well, in my opinion. So I'm not seeing it too much of a difference under those pretenses. Oh gosh. Oh gosh. Ooh. Come on, get there. This feels bad still. I'm not gonna lie. It still feels rough, right? It still feels slow and sluggish. It feels like Stunt Race FX. There's no ifs and buts about that. It doesn't feel broken though, which is the key thing about it all, right? Like, it works. Not even like it works well enough, which it does, but it works, right? It's at the very bare minimum doing what I remember of this game when I played it originally on a Super Nintendo back in what year did this come out? 1990 something? 96? What was it? I think it might have been 95 or 94. I could be wrong. 94. It works, Braves. Yeah. Does that make me want to be kinder to this game? A little bit. I'm not gonna lie, right? It's still incredibly charming. I think I still don't think it's a game I'd want to like come back to all the time, right? This truck stage still pisses me off in every possible way. The camera placement is just whack, if I'm being honest, right? Yeah, the car is cute. I'll give you that. Turning this frickin' truck sucks still. Gosh, please. Please. No. Okay, well, we just got it. Hey, don't fall for that. Go this way, right? Oh gosh, come on, turn, you son of a bitch. That's not happening. That's not gonna happen. Oh. Just gotta finish the lap. Just gotta finish the lap. Just boost, just boost. Just get out there. Just get out there. No, well. That's okay. Some wild swings with polygons. You're absolutely correct. You're absolutely correct, my Hero Zero. Although I put maybe like polygons in brackets. Because at most it's like 5. It's not a whole lot of polygons. Big triangles. Yeah, thanks, Dolpho. Big triangles. It's like, it's neat, right? And again, it's like my ability to couch this game in some nostalgia with the frame rate is probably the only saving grace that this game has, right? Like, if you showed this game to someone who had never seen this game ever before, or even like knows what the Super FX chip is and whatnot, it'd be like, you know, even more pronounced if you show someone like the original Star Fox, which is a game we need to look at eventually, right? It's like they would be obviously much less generous than I am being generous to this game, right? But look, like, I'm not getting dropped inputs. I'm actually like staying in first place, right? Oh gosh, this frame rate. It's killing me. It's like, this isn't bad, you know? This is definitely better. Fonk says. Oh, I'm talking about. Oh gosh, I just got murdered by his rock. And I'm facing the wrong way. Oh gosh. Reverse. Well, I think we're in last now, right? Third. Ugh. Gosh, that rock really screwed us up. Probably get past this truck though, right? Okay. Am I including Star Fox 2 in the rankings? That's a good question, My Hero Zero. I think so, right? Like, technically speaking, that game did come out. Not originally when it was supposed to, right? Technically, it came out on a Super Nintendo, right? Like the Super Nintendo Mini, right? Please correct me if I'm wrong on that. Yeah, technically speaking. Is that game on Switch Online even? I think it's on Switch Online as well. I think. Or is it only on the SNES Mini? That'd be very strange if it was. It is. Okay. I don't need to do this race. I think I've said my piece about Stunt Race FX. I think I will play Star Fox 2. But I do want to maybe double check on some of the legality of that specifically. You know what I'm saying? Should be fine. I can't see why it wouldn't be. But I want to double check that. Stunt Race FX. I think you're all right. I mean, I already had established it's all right. It's, you know, number 44. Knowing I don't get these dropped inputs and stuff like that. Do I think Stunt Race FX is better than Super Ultra Baseball? Yeah, it's a better game than that. It is. I'll even go as far as say I think this game is better than in its current ranking. I think this game is better than Street Fighter Alpha 2. I mean, it's going to be like that in the future. We'll talk about it. We'll talk about it eventually. However, do I think this game is better than Parodius or Aladdin? I don't think so. I don't think so. I think that's right. Especially in this company currently. Oops. In this fine company. I think so. I think so. What if the coupe had a sword? It's a really good question, My Hero Zero. Actually, we talked about that last time, even in a way, right? We talked about how, like, it's almost surprising that this game doesn't have, like, kart racer sorts of mechanics, right? Like, you have the pickups that, like, you know, repair your vehicle. You have pickups that are for, like, more boost. But it, yeah, like, the main races don't have, like, you know, a red shell sorts and stuff like that. If this game was to be, yeah, like, Battle Tracks is its own separate thing for sure. But, like, even like Mario Kart, you could use those items in the main races, right? On top of there being a battle mode as well. So it's, like, interesting that they tried to, like, very much make those two things separate. And, like, the tracks are going to be different under those guises as well. And that's why, like, I do find it interesting that if this game was to be made today, or even like, you know, we were talking about before how I was surprised that this game wasn't even like this franchise wasn't looked at again in, say, like the GameCube or N64 era and stuff like that, where these feel like the natural progression for this game in a way that I think if you were to make a brand new Stunt Race FX today, I don't even know what they call it. I think it was called Stunt Race FX 2. That'd be really funny, but or like Super Stunt Race Switch or something like this. I don't know. Nintendo seems very keen not to use the super terminology, or seems very unsure, even though I think Super Switch is a good name. But yes, we talked about some of the problematics of having SS as the acronym for your new system. Might be a problem. But yeah, I still would love to see them come back to this game and give it another shot, right? Anyways, congratulations, Stunt Race FX. You're boosting about 9 spots. That's not bad. It's not bad. It's half decent. Is it great? But it's good. It's good. Funk says, I was always annoyed how this game is a shit 'em up. What? Are you talking about the Doom thing still, or are you talking about Stunt Race FX, Funk? I'm not sure what you meant. Anyways. Latin Wars? I don't know what that is. Apologies. Moving on. The next game. I'm actually not going to load up the game for this. Give me one moment. Where is it? There it is. Oop. Let's go to the web browser again, shall we? Let's talk about Street Fighter Alpha 2, shall we? A game that is now currently ranked right underneath Stunt Race FX. I'm not gonna watch this entire video because it's 13 minutes long. Let's cut the music really quick on that. This is probably also very loud. Hold on. Apologies.
30 years ago, Capcom released Street Fighter II in the arcades.
Shoutouts to
spread on a global scale.
Modern Vintage Gamer and their YouTube channel. I watched this maybe like a day or two after I had ranked Street Fighter Alpha 2 on the Super Nintendo. Funk is like, Australians. Could have fooled me. If you told me they were from the EU, I would have believed it too. I struggle to hear the difference at times.
A worldwide phenomenon in both the arcades and in the home.
But now that you say that, I can hear it.
PS1 hardware, Street Fighter II came standard with huge hand-drawn sprites, animated backgrounds that utilized parallax scrolling effects, and the soundtrack was iconic, changing the way we think about what video games should sound like.
I think
Street Fighter II would initially include a roster of 8 characters.
This video does an incredible job at breaking down some of the technical reasons of why Street Fighter Alpha 2 is such an incredible port from a technical perspective, which I obviously had very little insight towards.
In particular,
right?
the Genesis Special Champion and
like right down to talking about like this chip here, I believe.
One other noticeable side effect of the SDD1 is that it would act as an effective copy protection measure. It wouldn't be until 2003
that probably looks like real fun.
Chip's algorithm would be fully reverse engineered. But Street Fighter Alpha or Zero 2 was playable for years on emulation. This was done before the SDD1 algorithm was discovered thanks to the use of graphics packs. This would contain a decompressed set of tiles that were read as the game needed them. The graphics pack was also used on Star Ocean, another Super NES game that utilized the SDD.
Star Ocean, another game I need to look at soon enough, but it's an RPG, so that needs time.
One. But for Street Fighter Alpha 2, the uncompressed graphics pack would come in at around 8 megabytes or 64 megabits alone. The SDD1's main purpose was to implement a lossless entropy algorithm that compressed the entire sprite data, all the way down.
So long story short, this SDD1 sound chip, okay, is apparently super key to making this cart work, because what it actually does, remember how I was complaining about the sound samples being missing with like with the announcers, or how the do you remember when we played, I'll just play it, actually no, it'll be in this video,
To fit on shoes. There are 3 large pauses before the fight even begins.
3 large pauses. Remember had that pause when you load up the game
3-second pause
before you get into a fight?
the fight actually starts.
This, right? Which sucks. Straight up, it sucks.
This is especially puzzling on cartridge-based systems where data I/O should be extremely fast. And this is why many people will say that Street Fighter Alpha 2 on the Super NES has loading built into it. But why does the game act this way? Is it truly because there's too much data packed into the game, and the only way it can work is to pause the gameplay while new chunks of data is being loaded in? Now, one of the biggest misconceptions about Street Fighter Alpha 2 or Zero 2 on the Super NES is that the SDD1 decompression is responsible for the pauses and delays before the game stage actually loads. But as we'll see, this is not actually true. For years, it was believed that the SDD1 decompression was locking up the main game execution as it decompressed graphics into the game.
However,
but if you take a closer look, the sprites and the backgrounds have already loaded. So this seems a little puzzling. Furthermore, an early Street Fighter Alpha 2 prototype that showed early progress of the game clearly has the same pauses before gameplay.
Alright, the music's gone. Apologies.
Round 1, fight!
But what's interesting to note here is that this prototype does not use the SDD1 at all. So what's actually going on? Well, as it turns out, the pauses have nothing to do with the SDD1 and have everything to do with the SPC700, the code processor found in the Super NES that handles the audio. For audio samples to play, they must be sent over the bus into the SPC700's memory space. So far, everything I said isn't really anything special, but the sound samples themselves are holding up execution of the game. It appears as though that these sound samples for some reason are much larger in size than they normally should be, and the delay itself is these sound samples being sent to the SPC700 and played. To test this, I patched a Street Fighter Alpha 2 ROM and simply disabled sound samples being sent to the SPC700 before the fight, and as you can clearly see, there are no pauses at all.
Getting right into that regedit.
Round 1, fight!
Boom, right into it. No awkward pause, but
Now,
also no
I can only
sound.
assume that the sound developer was under intense crunch in order to get this game released out the door, because this is something that could have been fixed at the time. And as we'll see, there has been some really smart members of the ROM hacking community that have gone back and fixed Street Fighter Alpha 2 or Street Fighter Zero 2 for the Super NES that essentially removes all the pauses and slowdowns in the game. A reverse engineer known as Gazaha has painstakingly worked on audio patches that remove all traces of audio delay in the game. He would also apply some timing fixes to save on CPU cycles. And the results are extremely impressive. Furthermore, MSU1 patches can also be applied that utilize the arcade soundtrack, making the Street Fighter Alpha 2 on the Super NES much
Strip, people have patched in because obviously there's no ROM size limit for the cart anymore in a modern day context, right? Because it's like, obviously it's like those EPROMs could only hold so much, but now obviously with modern day computing, blah, 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 with disk space being not a limiting factor anymore, it's like people are patching in the arcade sound samples to the game along with all these fixes, which is incredible, right? Which is absolutely incredible, which this is why I love the ROM hacking community so much. It's stuff like this, right?
more desirable.
Round one, fight!
Yeah, get that real music in there again. Sounds great. I kind of wish it did these audio samples for like the voices and stuff, but
But the question still remains, why would Capcom release the game when the pausing issues could have been addressed? To
Right.
speculate, let's go ahead and look at the timeline. Street Fighter 02 was released in December of 1996 in Japan and in November of that year in the US. Star Ocean released in July of 1996.
very
So
late.
Capcom must have caught wind of the compression chip at some point during late 1995 or early 1996, and most likely the focus would have been on the SDD1, and possibly not having enough time to deal with the sound issues before the game was released.
Yep.
This of course is all speculation. Even with the pauses in place, Street Fighter Alpha 2 is a very impressive port for the Super NES.
Yeah, like the Saturn, obviously much more powerful. You got CDs, even, right? But like, it was at this moment where I was like, after hearing all that, I'm not going to go further into the video at this point. Let's come back here. Knowing all that now, I don't want to relitigate the experience of which I was given very clearly, right? Those pauses suck, right? It is still not the version of Street Fighter Alpha 2 that I want to play, right? This is like, you know, when we look at any modern game that came out that is broken or something, but then when you like throw in a couple more fixes, like No Man's Sky or something, right? Like, look how far it's come. And that's even much more grander scale than what Street Fighter Alpha 2 on the Super Nintendo was doing, but obviously given the hardware limitations for what it was trying to do and for like how you could like update that thing, like it'd be impossible, right? They're not going to reissue new carts for this. And Funk, no, sorry, I don't know what the MSU one is. But long story short, after I watched this video, I started to become, I don't want to say more forgiving. That's not what I'm getting at here. But I did want to, even at the time before watching this video, try to give it more appreciation for like what it's actually doing and how much one small thing can make it all feel also wrong, obviously. But also trying to give flowers for like what it attempted. Right? Like there's a reason why people look at this card as like, wow, like that shouldn't exist. And there is more of that in the earlier parts of the video, which I skipped a lot over. So I'm going to actually like, when I throw this video up on YouTube, I'm absolutely going to like, you know, copy as like a source, be like, people should check out this video when I talk about this, which I didn't do when I first ranked this game, obviously. So it's a more extreme version of that. Fonk, are you saying that's for like another Super Nintendo game? Because I don't even know what game you're referencing. Apologies, but I'm assuming it's maybe on a different system or something. Anyways, Street Fighter Alpha 2. Where is it? It is. There it is. Part 7. Holy jeez. Well, can you just give me the Coles notes on that? Because I do have a time limit. I don't want to go down. It's only 3 minutes. Okay, we'll look at it. We'll do it quick. Let's first stay on topic here with Street Fighter Alpha 2, because I think this game is incredible that it exists under these new pretenses, right? I would even go as far to say it is more impressive than Stunt Race FX. Sorry, Chris. Sorry. I would go even as far as say I think this is more impressive than Disney's Aladdin.
Yes. Many would say...
Oops. Let me turn that back on. I'm just going to close that. I need the link. I'll find it again later. It's fine. Street Fighter Alpha 2 is still Street Fighter Alpha 2. In a way, right? At its very technical core limits, for sure, but I think that also makes it more impressive than NBA Jam, even for me. Do I think this game is better than Harvest Moon? No, I don't think so. I don't think. Is there anything in here that I think is more impressive? I think it's more impressive than Magical Poppin'. I think it's even more impressive than Final Fight 3, if I'm being honest. No, I'm going to correct the record on that for Harvest Moon. I think what Harvest Moon is doing is more impressive. Sorry, I need to... Sorry. What Harvest Moon is doing is more impressive from a legacy standpoint. Obviously, I think. But I don't think it obviously quite accomplished everything from quality of life and yada yada yada. I'm not going to relitigate. But what Street Fighter Alpha 2 is doing is obviously incredibly impressive on a technical standpoint, even if it doesn't even reach all those goals at its full either, right? Because of that bug, but is showing how it could have been fixed, obviously. It's just broken, right? But I do think at its core, what it's doing is better than Final Fight. Apologies to Final Fight. And it's more impressive than Magical Poppin'. I don't think it's better than Super Castlevania 4, which is very refined and also in its way, also like a tech demo from 1991, right? Congratulations to Street Fighter Alpha 2. I think it's the new number 24. Even if I was looking at that game, so I will be very clear as well, like, I'm ranking here, like, the experience as it is still, right? Without any of the ROM hacking and stuff attached to it. I think the ROM hacking obviously reveals a lot about it, but doesn't change how I feel about, like, this game not being the one that you want to play, right? But under the same pretense, I absolutely undersold how technically impressive it still is to get to this point. So, because at its core, you know, once you get beyond those bugs, it's still Street Fighter Alpha 2, an incredible video game, right? It's missing a lot of things. It's not better than OG Street Fighter 2. It just absolutely is not. But if I look at, say, like, apples to oranges and said, hey, is Street Fighter Alpha 2 arcade, or even like some of the PlayStation versions, better than Street Fighter 2? Maybe, right? I definitely would prefer to play Street Fighter Alpha than Street Fighter 2 OG in some ways, for some things, right? But not like this. So I think this is right. Credit where credit's due, right? Right in that edge of great. So congrats. Righting wrongs here today, right? Okay. Let's look at this thing that Fonk wants me to look at. Enhanced Zelda demo. Let's take a look at this. Fonk, is there a... Oh, I see. So this is about Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past, I'm assuming. Okay. Yeah. All the video and sound you're hearing was recorded off a real NTSC Super Nintendo Mini. There's no audio trickery or cheats. Everything you're hearing exactly the sounds of a person. This was done using S2 SNES card. Or something it said there, right? Can't catch it. It also work on BSNES and emulators too. Okay. Let me make this bigger. Audio can loop seamlessly and without interfering with either sound effects or video of the game. But not just audio. Jeez.
This is a great start for the season.
I think I remember hearing about this now.
This has got to be the best apple orchard in all of Hyrule. Everyone's going to travel here to try my apples.
Up to 4 GB in size is what it said. Every SNES game is capable of this thanks to the MSU1 chip specification designed by the man behind Hygen and BSNES, but only select. Okay, so let me get this straight, Fonk. Is this MSU chip something that ever existed on original hardware? The Zelda 3 patch is freely available for download, but I hope it will inspire other hackers and audiophiles to use it to enhance their games. You believe so? In what games? Right? So if this existed on original hardware, what we're talking about is that obviously it was capable of a lot, right? Given these audio samples, given the addition of the video, and so forth, so forth. Okay. That's neat. So that's the thing. Here's the differentiation for me, Fog. I know where you're coming at, I think. Here's my take on this, though. Actually, no, hold on. Let's go back to the browser really quick. What is MSU1 chip? Media streaming unit is homemade enhancement chip. So Fonk, this is not original hardware then. From what I understand, from what I'm reading here. From SNES Lab, which we're on. MSU1, also named Media Streaming Unit Revision 1, is a homemade enhancement chip made by Nier. Shoutouts to Nier. If this is the same Nier that I'm thinking of. Fonk, do you know, is this the same Nier? Is it? It is? I'm assuming it is. Yeah. Shout out to the Nier that we know from X Fanbyte stuff, but this Nier is, yeah, RIP to them. Extremely tragic extreme sad loss for the ROM hacking community and stuff like that. Yeah, the one patch community. Yeah, go Google that if you wish. Content warnings for suicide, suicidality, extremely tragic. Harassers fucking suck, straight up. No, they're not going to go further because it just makes me too sad. Also, we don't need to. Anyways, moving on. So if this allows the SNES to have 4 GB storage space and CD quality stereo audio, and obviously the video and stuff, which is incredible. Here's my take on that. That's cool, but it's not original hardware, so it's fine. It's neat. That's really cool from the ROM hacking perspective and yada, yada, yada. I think that's a conversation on its own, right? But if it's not original hardware, like I was under, if you told me that the MSU1 was a chip that existed in other games but wasn't leveraged until, you know, size limits on disk space, obviously, or like in the case of carts, right? Like for what you can fit in the RAM, right? It's like, I'm not that impressed under that pretense, to be quite honest. I think it's very cool that obviously I think it's incredible that people are hacking the game, stuff like, and I think it's like, even in the context of the Street Fighter Alpha 2 thing, I think it's super neat that someone ROM hacked it to fix that bug. But I think what's important there is that someone fixed it and still was able to keep everything under the pretense of that original hardware in the context of that size limitation of that cart. Hey, what's up, Narkill 607? Good to see you. Good to see you. HL94, yeah, it's on this list. It's where is it? There it is, number 28. A very fair spot, I think, for that game. Incredible video game. Anyways, what I'm getting at is that, like, if this MSU1 chip was a real hardware in that same way, I would be extremely impressed, you know, to see that it was just like maybe not leveraged at the time, right? But it's also like, if you just remove size limitations off and that's off the table, then yeah, you could do anything, right? And that's cool, especially for a game that's as beloved as Link to the Past. But I don't find it interesting in the same way. So I don't think it's the same thing, Fonk. But it's neat. It's neat. I'm glad it's a thing for sure, right? But I don't find it technically impressive the same way I think Street Fighter Alpha 2 would have been impressive with the original hardware had they literally just fixed that line of code that Modern Vintage Gamer went in there to do. And obviously all the discovery for like finding out it's like, oh, it has actually nothing to do with that SDD1 chip, right? So cool nonetheless, though. Moving on. How are we doing on time? Let's double check this really quick. Gone for 2 hours. Okay. That should be enough time for one more. But which, oh gosh, where did I put it? What was the one more I want to look at, you say? Let's do this. Apologies. Looking for it. Hold on. Shoot. Hold on. There it is. Why is this not? you for the hydration check. How y'all doing so far? Apologies. I should have prepared better for this one. I thought I had it locked down, but apparently I don't. So I'm going to grab it really quick. How's everyone doing? I saw Liv. It's not feeling 100%, so they're not going to stream later. So that's okay. I get it. Sekiro is not a game I would want to play if I had a raging headache, you know? Not by any stretch, as much as I love that game. Okay, get that. It's going there. Is it SNES Monopoly? Dullfocus asks. No. As always, as I need to plug, because I gotta plug. If you have games at home that you'd like to see, you know, in the various communities I'm in, you know, feel free to tag me some suggestions. I'll clearly take them. If you want to see me play a game right now on this show, as always, you can always suggest a game with a $20 tip and 8 gift subs and 2,000 bits. And I have to drop what I'm doing and play it right away. Gladly do that. Obviously, it doesn't have to be a game that's not on the list. It can be games that's already on the list. If you go here at tinyurl.com/SNES ranking, you like take a look. And I'll relitigate. Because what if you're also like, no, I need you to take another look at Pack in Time. It's better. It's got a grappling hook in it. You didn't grappling hook it right. Okay, I'll do it. I'll do it for at least 30 minutes. Or I'll probably even go further if I find something actually interesting to talk about in that. Whether I like it or not, it could go in a new place. Maybe it will, maybe it won't, but I'll look at it again. I'll look at anything for $20, that's for sure. So yeah, if you have a suggestion, feel free. But also, if you just have any suggestion at all, obviously, I'd be willing to take them in the comments or in various Discords we're a part of. I will gladly take those and put them into my rundown sheet and then find an appropriate time and another place for them, as I have been doing for a lot of these requests. Like today's Harvest Moon. My Hero Zero really wanted to see it. Nah, so did I. And I'm glad I did. Right. This is the game we're looking for. Oh. Y'all heard of this game? Y'all heard of this Mario guy? I don't know. It's like a plumber, I think. I guess technically it's an import, yeah. At one point it was. Dull Focus, I guess, right? 19... This is the US version, obviously. Oh, it's only really if you play as Luigi, yeah. Came out in 1991. Obviously the launch pack-in game for the Super Nintendo, right? I have no saves whatsoever for this game. We're going fresh, baby. This is what I will do every now and then with Super Mario World. I will load up a fresh game. Let's do a single player. And I play some amount of this game. We're gonna finish it. I can't even imagine. This is not a game I revisit much, if at all. I want to say I might load up. Let's look at Yoshi's house. I might load up this game once in a blue moon. Oh, Yoshi, you're not home. Well, let's go find your friends, huh? It's run button, it's jump button, spin jump. What more do you need? I want to say I usually play this first stage. Look at this big old Big Bill. Or Big Bullet Bill, if you will. And I go, yeah, this game's good. You know? And then I don't really play much more. That's about it. Do I have better reason to come back to this? I do now, right? Otherwise, I don't look at this game. I have no reason to. This game is so couched in a specific time and place. Like, why would I replay it? It's good. That should be why, right? Do I do that? No, because there are so many goddamn Super Nintendo games. Why would I come back to this? I know what this is. It's Mario. Do I need... Oh, right, can't do that. Do I need to know more? Not really. Unless I'm ranking them. Right? Have I... So... Foncast, have you done the full exits? At one point in my life, I did. When I owned this cart, obviously, as I had it as a pack-in for my Super Nintendo, right? Yes, My Hero Zero is getting at exactly the reason. My Hero Zero says, it's like the perfect game that is hard to ever go back to because you are getting into wanting to harness being 12 again. High nostalgia factor, right? Here's the other reason. Oh, didn't get it at the top. It's fine. Here's the other reason. Okay? If I think this game is incredible, right? Which it is. Everyone... If you don't know what Super Mario World is, then this is obviously not the stream for you, right? Like, that's not why we're here. Also, that's incredibly dire funk. That's wild. And also precious. I take this game for granted because in my head, I already established what it is, right? Half of this is me breaking away from my nostalgia and also trying to couch myself into it. If this game is perfect, and I 100%ed it, or even more than, because I did all the Star Road exits and unlocked every path, did every, alternate route, did the thing with the Yoshi to get the flying Yoshi, right? You name it. Did all that stuff, and did it even before the era of the internet, I should note, okay? Did all that just by word of mouth and by looking at video game magazines and guides of that time, right? So within that context, like in the zeitgeist, right? As we were talking before with like Harvest Moon and such, I did everything there was to do in the zeitgeist. Already knew in my head, this is an incredible video game, possibly one of the greatest video games of all time, right? Possibly. I'm not here to litigate that, but I think it's pretty goddamn good, right? Why should I go back to it? I don't need to. Video games are coming out all the time, obviously. There's lots of games I haven't played, whether they're old or new. Why go back? Why go back? Here's the downfall of that, right? By taking that for granted, I've literally couched myself in the nostalgia to believe that it's the perfect game. Does that mean I should keep playing it? I mean, I could, right? How much do I care? I mean, I care enough to put her on a list, that's for sure, right? If you were to ask me if I remembered every single aspect of this game, I don't anymore. If you ask me like where all the secrets are, I probably couldn't tell you. I absolutely could not tell you. Because I've taken it for granted. I've forgotten. Does that mean I've forgotten how good this game is? Maybe. Maybe. Also, there's some discourse happening in chat. Fonk also says, Super Mario Land 2 was... Oh, no, sorry. I think Super Mario Land 2 is as good as this game. I can see that for some people, right? For the Game Boy, right? With the... Fonk, correct me if I'm wrong, because I never had it growing up. Super Mario Land 2 was the one where you get the rabbit ears hat, right? That lets you fly. Yeah. Okay, yeah. I can see why. And that game came out after Super Mario Brothers 3, right? It's a good game to some people. I think I tried it once and I was like, this is fine. Didn't impress me all that much, but I can see why, right? Time and place. It's the exact same discussion we had about, like, you know, Fonk, how you said your canon Street Fighter is Third Strike, right? Same thing. It's not for me, but that's just time and place, right? Oh, here comes a big split. Do I drop Yoshi off and go up the vine or not, right? Fuck this Yoshi. Yes, Yoshi is disposable. I believe as such. Yoshi is friend, but Yoshi is disposable. Also, you can get him back anyway, so it's not a big deal. I know there's also some secret about eating these different colored berries at some point, right? And I want to say at some point that's for trying to get the blue Yoshi, I think, right? That flies. I'm pretty sure. I don't remember. I don't remember. Again, I don't remember. Also, I remember this part. Right, something to do with the shells. I remember there's a way for these blocks that can kill you somehow. Because I want to say flying up there has something, I think, maybe? Maybe. I remember, like, one time, like, I came in here with a cape and I flew up and, like, these blocks squished me somehow, which is really funny. Oh, I forgot my Yoshi. Well, whatever. Peace. Oh, wait for that, wait for that. No, well, whatever. Hit them in order, they give you 1-ups. Yeah. There's a lot of weird little stuff like that in this game. Look, you'll get another Yoshi, Chris. That's how this game works. Throw Yoshi in the trash, get a new Yoshi. Not a problem. It's like that GIF that I love so much where it's like... Especially the one where it's like you gotta like get under the flag, right? And it's like Yoshi crying as you dump them off and Mario's... Look, a new Yoshi, no problem. That's fun. So I would love a cape. Can you go down here? No. Yep. So what is there left to say about this game? Right? I don't think there's much to say. Other than what I've already said. If anything, it's the conversation about, yeah, it's like, how do we couch nostalgia, right? Which is what I wanted to talk about when playing this game. There is a part of me that wants to play this game again, right? Can't get 30, save my life. It's not like in Mario 3 where you can just run at the star and get it, right? Hey, Grosimian. Good to have you, good to have you. Thank you for the follow. Yeah, like, would I like to replay this game to try to... Oh, I shouldn't have picked that up. Oh, well, bye, Yoshi. It's fine. We'll get another one. Man, Thanks for streaming. Happy to be here. Oh, good to have you. Good to have you. Good to have you. George Simeon, if you're joining late, obviously to my series, this is Let's Rank almost every Super Nintendo game. Almost, meaning I'm leaving it a little bit up to interpretation. Because there's a lot of Super Nintendo games. Which lets me talk about why am I playing... Oh, I goofed that up because I wanted to hit the run button. Well, it's fine. We're invincible. Let's just get in here. Yeah, screw up these big spiky blocks, right? That's fun. Oh gosh. So why am I playing this game? Look. I've mentioned in the past, I haven't cracked the top 10 of my list in a very long time. So I was like, hey, what are some games I can obviously maybe do that, right? Also, Dull Focus, let's chat about that later. This sounds like new news, so I'm sorry if that's the case. I know you just got a promotion and stuff, but you know, like, okay, we'll talk. No, you have another. Yeah, you have another job. Yeah. Okay, got you. Whew. I was like, what? No. Oh gosh. It didn't start until Wednesday. Okay, so you're jobless for a few days. That's it. Okay. Good to hear. Good to hear. Much love. What am I getting at? Right. So, like, should I replay more of this game? I think I should. Am I gonna start like some whole new streaming series and stuff like that? I don't think so. You tell me, folks at home. Like, when's the last time? When is? Oh, I love these little fence punches. That's fun, right? But like, when was the last time you played Super Mario World? Or even Super Mario Brothers 3 or 2? Like, obviously I know like that NES Championship thing came out recently, right? Oh gosh. But in the same vein of that, like, if you did play this recently, like, how much of it do you remember, right? How much do you care about remembering, like, all the little secrets and, like, how much do you couch your nostalgia in remembering the good times you had this game versus actually remembering, like, a game inside out and being, like, a fiend with it, right? Because I was an absolute fiend for this game when it originally came out, obviously. That zeitgeist, right? Hey, buddy. I've seen you before. I'm not playing this right. To knock you off this edge. There we go. Because it's like... Do I feel bad that I don't remember a lot about this game anymore? A little bit, right? But that's my nostalgia speaking in contrast to what I've lost. Or not what I've lost, that's not even a good way, but what I've, for how I've moved on with in respect to Super Mario World, right? Or Simeon says, oh, ages. Yeah. Bonk says, gets to World 7 and just vibes. They'll focus. I'm incredibly gullible and I will believe just about anything anyone types, so don't feel bad about that if your joke doesn't land. Yeah, my ear is 0. You're right. It's like, I think I do what you said you do. I boot up, confirm that, yes, they're both still good, and you move on, right? Especially for a game that's as large as Super Mario World, right? It's gigantic. If I was to do everything all over again, I'm sure speedrunners would prove me otherwise, but that's not me, right? Talking about Super Mario 3 with better theming and stuff. I don't know. This game has its biomes in a way, right? Do they look as distinct as those different worlds and stuff? Not really. I'll acquiesce to that. Merzer says, Super Mario World inspired my VGB's question today. I can see it. I can see it. I think this game's really good. It's at about this point I usually stop playing it in my typical, hey, let's boot up Super Mario World. Do I find this still interesting to play? Yeah, kinda, right? Oh gosh, we're gonna rewind that. I want that cape. Just give me the cape. I'm not gonna replay the level just to get the cape. Give me it. Thank you. You get out of here. Play this game the way it was meant to be played. Oh gosh, I didn't go up high enough. That's okay. Oh. Not even caring about these Yoshi coins anymore. Get out of here. I think they respawn. Yeah, I can't take off here. I think I can here though. This game is still obviously very good, right? Oops. Do I want to keep playing it? Not really. I'm being honest. Like I can do this dive. Ooh. Oops. Oh, right, those keys, right? Ah, nuts. Dang it. Give me the... No, well. We really goofed that up, folks. Jesus Christ. Got myself into a real pickle here. Did I ever play Wonder? No, I don't have a Switch, yeah. I wanted to, but the moment has passed me on that. I never even played... Like, I never had... The last Nintendo system I owned was a Nintendo 64, right? I'm way behind the curve on Nintendo, which is really funny for a person that's re-ranking Super Nintendo games, right? I'm pretty sure, yeah, if I had gotten that key, I know that goes into the water stages, yada yada, for the alternate path, right? I got the cape, I'm good. Let's move on. Let's have a chat. That's all I've been doing, actually. I like this game a lot still. I don't want to ever play it again. I have this problem with it in the same way I have a problem with Mario Paint in a lot of retrospects, okay? Which if you don't remember, because holy jeez, part 2, we played Mario Paint, and remember? Grow Simeon, if you're still there, you may not know, when I started the series originally, many parts ago, we're at part 17 now. Holy moly, so 15 parts ago, or episodes ago, which would have been very close to like when I was starting, obviously, streaming. I had an existential crisis playing Mario Paint. A deep existential crisis. Fong says, sorry you had to have an N64, one of the worst consoles of all time. Unless you are North American. Yeah, that sounds about right. I don't know what the EU schedule looked like for N64, but what a weird time. That must have been probably. Anyways. I had a really rough time with Mario Paint. No, let me rephrase that. I had a really great time playing Mario Paint, but coming out of it, I had a really rough time acquiescing to the fact that I didn't have the childlike wonder to play Mario Paint 2 or Mario Paint anymore. Not Mario Paint 2. The sequel to Mario Paint. I mean, I'd at least look at it if they tried again, right? Could you imagine? How they not done that yet? Mario Paint 2 on like a Switch with a touchpad and you name it? Come on, Nintendo. Get on it. I know I joked before about how like if I showed this old version of Mario Paint to like my nephews, they would not understand it. They would in places, but it wouldn't be an enjoyable experience. Yeah, Mario Maker is kind of like Mario Paint 2 in a way, but even I have enough faith in Nintendo to say they can recapture some kind of magic like that again. It would just be incredibly different, and that's why it would be good. I came out of my original reading on Mario Paint as a fairly cynical one, right? Mostly because of a self-reflection of self that came out of that. And alas, I feel reminded about that place again as I play Super Mario World, right? And again, speaking as someone who stopped buying Nintendo consoles, didn't even buy, I was gifted a lot of them, right? And 64 was the first one I bought with my own money. Yeah, Mario 64 is great. Would I want to play Mario 64 again? No, I don't. I just don't. Mario Artist on 64 DD? I have only a vague memory of that. That sounds familiar, Fomp, but I've never seen it myself personally. Also, 64 DD is really funny. What am I getting at with this? Focus says, there has to be a German word for the hollow feeling of revisiting a game you fully mine all of your enjoyment of as a child. Yeah. It's not Schadenfreude, that's for sure, right? Not the same idea. Or is it? Is it actually Schadenfreude? No. Schadenfreude is pleasure derived by someone else's personal misfortune. So otherwise, you people at home watching me have an existential crisis about how much I like Mario Paint and Mario World or Super Godzilla. That's Schadenfreude. Yeah. Thanks, Meyer Zero. Thanks. Yeah. So I guess in the reverse. Yeah. Again, I was mentioning it in BGBs as John was playing Kingdom Hearts, right? I'm like, I learned from you. I learned from others, obviously, like watching like Giant Bomb content or even before that, right? Seeing people play bad video games, a timeless tradition, but also specifically the making of a promise is very applicable to John. John Warren very specifically, right? I learned from that experience. Also thankful for it. Super Mario World. 1991. US, North American release. I should actually double check TCRF to see if there's any big differences. I don't think there is between this and the Japanese version, right? Take a quick look together, shall we? John did not learn his Atomic Hearts lesson. That's fine. Also, the site is very bright. Can't have dark mode for everything. New sound. Version differences. This is what I'm looking for. Okay, Japan. Oh, the logo is different. That's interesting. That's neat. Let me zoom in a little bit for y'all at home. Each version handles files with 96 goals differently. Yeah, that's weird. Look at that, right? Japan, it's yellow. That's right, in the US and EU, you got that little star, right? And then the revision for Europe is just blue. Okay. Dolphins! In the Japanese version, it is possible for Yoshi to eat the dolphins. Uses pop. That's wild. I did not know that. That's fun. This change was likely unintentionally undone for all versions of the Game Boy Advance port. That's funny. Super Mario. Was it Super Mario World Advance or Super Mario? Yeah, Super Mario Advance. No, sorry. Super Mario World, Super Mario Advance 2. Ugh, that's a mouthful. Mm-hmm. Does that say Buzz? Booey Booey versus Reznor? Okay. Koopa Castle versus Bowser Castle? Sure. Peach is more smiley in Japan, apparently. That's it. So she looks like she's giving a bigger smooch in the international ones, I guess. Donut Plains probably gave you a mushroom there, I'm guessing. Donut Secret House. I always got confused with this one. Also at the end, the ceilings are extended a bit to fill the whole screen. Yeah, that makes sense. I barely remember any of this stuff, obviously. Like, I don't remember this. What the hell is this? I don't remember picking up anything like that. Kissing illegal in North America? Yeah, you know, hey look. Puritans, am I right? This, oh right, this is the thing, the secret exit for flying underneath, right? With the blue Yoshi, I think, right? That's what this is. More obvious with more arrows. They're just like, look, people don't know how to get through the secret. More arrows, please. Throw 3 of them in. You are super player versus you are a super player. Okay, that's fun. Yeah, UX is hard. There are more differences here than I was expecting beyond the localization of such. Anyways. That's neat. I'm just delaying me talking about where should I rank this game. Even I know that. Sumo Brothers. Post-funky enemies. What? Oh, I see. Anyways. Yeah, number 89. Done deal. Worse than Super Cut. No. No. Let me get something to copy and paste. 1 second. There it is. Super Mario World is better than Super Godzilla. Sorry to Super Godzilla. What a thought. This one's for Funk. Super Mario World is better than David Crane's Amazing Tennis. And by default, that makes it better than Earthworm Jim. David Perry's Earthworm Jim. It's not the title. It's better than Joe and Mac. It's better than Griffey. It's better than Aladdin. Sorry to Ganj. It's better than Evo Search for Eden. Be nice to Ganj. It's the rules. Oh, I still have Harvest Moon down below. Yeah. Super Mario World is better than that. Sorry, My Hero Zero. I still have Harvest Moon. Oh, that's what you meant. Sorry. I do? You're right. I must hit Control C instead of Control X. Let's double check that really quick. Yeah. That'll shift the numbers a little bit, right? Okay. Wait, is that... No. Because we didn't rank anything new today. I have Stunt Race FX probably in 2 places as well. Yeah, I do. Let's fix that. Out of there. There we go. Now we're back at 96. Oh God, what have I done? Did I really F this up? What? I only looked at these 2 games today. Did I fix Alpha? Thank you, My Hero Zero. Whew. I think you can just type in Alpha. Whew. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I was like, where am I today? Also, why did I move this? Oh God, now I ruined the cropping. Close enough. Might be off by a pixel. Can fix that later. Now we're adding 96. Here we go. Yeah, Super Mario World is better than Human Grand Prix. It's better than Donkey Kong Country, that's for sure. It is a top 10 video game. Is Super Mario World better than Mario Paint? Another game that gave me an existential crisis about growing up, changing values, changing tastes, changing introspective lenses. You're right, My Hero Zero. You cannot have Paint without World. That's true. Quite literally. In Mario Paint, yeah, that one color colorization template that has, like, you know, Mario with the cape on the Yoshi, right? That's fun. Couldn't have that without this. Yeah, uses all those Mario World sprites for sure. I was almost about to say Mario Paint inspires a childlike wonder that is more noteworthy than Super Mario World, but that's absolutely not true. Not in the headspace of where I was at when I was either 8 or 9 years old when I played Super Mario World for the very first time. The possibility space that Super Mario World introduced is undeniable. Just different than what Mario Paint inspires, right? Just different. There's a creativeness that the Mario Paint obviously treads on for that as a young child, which I would have been about 9 years old for that. That Mario World is also doing, just in a different way. Super Mario World is a better game than Mario Paint. Apologies to Taylor. I hope they would understand. It's better. Super Mario World is also better than Kirby's Dream Course, a game I wanted to re-rank today, My Hero Zero, but I don't know if I could stomach that quite yet. Especially knowing the direction I may, on impulse, want to put that. Super Mario World is better than Super Punch-Out. Is Super Mario World better than Mega Man X? A game that I also noted on First Play to say there was a possibility space even with that game, even though it is so much more linear than Super Mario World in the grander scale. Like, that's the funny thing about this, right? Is like, when I think about my nostalgia for these games, right, particularly for Mega Man X versus Super Mario World, obviously I've said a lot of stuff about that already in this episode, but I had that same possibility space in Mega Man X, and that game is wildly different, right? It's not open world in the same way. Obviously, Super Mario World is. World's not even the title of the game, right? But even being able to like choose the different bosses as per the layout of Mega Man games do, that opened up something. Or even the grander plan to revisit levels in Mega Man X is incredible, right? To find those secrets. Or even in that first intro stage, right? Where like parts of the map were breaking because enemies were destroying parts of it. Like, holy crap, when you're a kid, right? It's like that possibility space seemed huge. Mario World does that, ultimately speaking, 10 times over with a better tool set, you could say, right? Super Mario World is better than Mega Man X. As much as I love Mega Man X, this conversation is much closer than I'm really putting off. Or coming off as right now, I mean, quite honest. Here's the big one. Is Super Mario World better than Street Fighter 2? Here's the thing. When I was comparing it to Mega Man X and Mario Paint, with some things I've mentioned already, when I loaded up Mega Man X during that episode 8, I thought I was going to come to tears just hearing the music, right? Mario Paint, those tears came after. when I was having a self-revelation in real time. Mega Man X and Chrono Trigger have more in common in that way with how they couch with me emotionally. Super Mario World did not evoke that in the same way. Super Mario World evokes in the same way Mario Paint does. But with a revelation that I already had found. So, hey, had I played Super Mario World that day, would I have the same reaction? Maybe. My Hero Zero says, this gets into like video games of all times discussion. Yeah. But on a singular level, right? It's like, this is my list, right? I'm not comparing it to other people's opinions necessarily. I'm keeping them in mind, but I'm speaking still for myself and not for others as a accumulation or as a cumulative cumulative, that's the word I'm looking for, cumulative opinion, right? It's funny. I remember when I mentioned all that stuff about how like I've taken Super Mario World for granted. Like, I think I still have, even after recognizing that, talking through it. So I'm not gonna lie, I feel like, at least for the kinds of games that I enjoy and love, right? I put more stock into these two video games and how they've shaped my likes and my enjoyment of video games. But there's something core about Super Mario World that is impossible to deny, which is why it's shooting up obviously so high in the rankings, right? It's like, it's so good at what it does and was so revolutionary, right? I can't ignore it. And I don't even like, but here's the other thing. I don't play a lot of Mario games anymore because I've moved elsewhere. I almost said moved on, but that's not true. That's actually a bit dicey to say that. That's a very incorrect opinion. For some people, maybe, but like, you know, that's the whole thing where like people say like, oh, Nintendo is just for kids and stuff like that, right? Which is not untrue. But again, like I was talking with Mario Paint, how it speaks to me and what I value out of video games today, right? If I was to say like I've moved on, it's like I'm implicitly saying I've put that shit down, right? Which I have. There's no denying that. Do I regret it? Yeah, a little bit, right? Again, these are all discussions and stuff I had about Mario Paint. And I'm getting weepy at the idea of, again, with this, bring these up. Thank God I had therapy earlier this week. It's like I have to pay someone, you know, $250 Canadian per session to talk to them about how, you know, like a loss of childhood innocence with Mario Paint and Super Mario World. I didn't actually do that. Maybe I should. No, I don't need to do that. Ugh. Here's what I'll say. I don't think Super Mario World is better than Chrono Trigger. I just don't. I do not. I have a very vivid memory playing Super Mario World when I didn't own a Super Nintendo yet. There was a kid next door. I think I would have been, I would have been probably 9 years old or so at the time. So I would have been 21, right? No, I would have been 8 years old. Maybe I was 9. I was getting close. Who cares? Whatever. There's a neighbor who said they just got a Super Nintendo and they were inviting kids all over the block to come over to check it out after school, right? I didn't know this kid. I might have played like street hockey with this kid maybe like once or twice because I live in Canada. We play street hockey, right? It's what we do. And I have vivid memory of this kid inviting me to play this game. And even before I even laid hands on the controller, just marveling at it. Right? And then by then I know I was hooked. I was like, I ran home and I was like, Mom, Dad, I need this. I need this, right? And then I got one and then I got Super NES for Christmas, and the story is told from there, right? It's the exact same feeling I had when the first time I saw Street Fighter 2 in the arcades. Where I saw that, and it just opened up a world for me. Quite literally. Forgive me for the pun. But it wasn't Street Fighter 2 on the Super Nintendo that did that for me for video games. It was Street Fighter 2 in the arcade. Congratulations, Super Mario World, for the Super Nintendo, North America, 1991. You're better than Street Fighter 2 on the Super Nintendo. You just are, for me. You're not better than Chrono Trigger. You're just not. Sorry. Right? Just not. Hard episode, folks. This was taxing. Holy shit. That did a number on me. I need to lie down after this. I need a drink, that's for sure. I might need something stronger than water after this. God damn. Coming to that realization was really something. I'm not gonna lie. Like, yeah, the existential crisis, yada yada yada. That's its own thing, right? And something I've litigated already. But realizing that it's like what this does for the Super Nintendo, and like remembering that Street Fighter 2 on the Super Nintendo is an after effect of what I got out of what I got out of the arcade experience, right? They are two separate things. You know, much like the Street Fighter Alpha 2 thing that we covered today, two separate things. Even multiples of, because Street Fighter 2 was arcades first, and then obviously other ports that were not perfect, but closer than obviously the Super Nintendo and so forth. Or even like what I discussed about like NBA Jam, right? Two separate experiences, two different things. Same game, sort of. Not quite, right? These are the small things I have to weigh this on when you start getting so hair thin on some of these rankings, right? That I have to take that in consideration. So feels good.
That's it, buddy.
All right, yeah, good call. Thank you so much for joining me today. Time to do the plug part. Obviously, you can check this out on youtube.com/@RJLee when these things go to the archive later on. It's where this episode will show up after a day or so once I get it uploaded, and if I have to do any video editing or audio fixes, you name it, right? Thank you for the emotes. Thank you. Of course, you can always, if you're watching this on the VOD, join us at Twitch TV/RJLee. That's where I do these live. If you come on over, give me a follow and whatnot, you'll never miss a show when we go live. Of course, if you want to support this endeavor, this ridiculousness, you can always subscribe. Helps out a lot. Helps support the show. Helps support me. Trying to do more. Always good to have you. Of course, as always, if you have a game you'd like to suggest yourself, you can actually comment, like, subscribe on the youtube.com thing, and obviously go there, leave me a comment if you want. You can suggest other games, I'll play them. If there's a game that you really want me to play right away, instead of just kind of leaving it on my rundown sheet in a queue for me to find the right fit for it, can obviously always suggest a game, and I'll have to play it live. And I'll do that with a $20 donation tip, 8 gift subs, or 2,000 bits, which is about $20 for me anyways. Of course, you want to see the list for itself, you can always go to tinyurl.com/SNES ranking. That's where the full list goes, and obviously, once I get updated with today's episode, you'll be able to see a full time-coded episode list where each of these games showed up, and I'll take you right there if you click on it. Once, obviously, it goes up on the YouTube archive, whatnot. Obviously, I have other shows as well. If you like to check me out as I play Rocksmith, I do that, generally speaking, at least once a week on Tuesdays at, generally speaking, around anywhere between 2 to 3 p.m. Sometimes it's kind of a rolling start if I think other things going on and whatnot. And usually sometimes I'll throw an episode on the weekend too, on Saturdays or Sundays. You can also check me out playing God Hand on my other show called The Skill Check, where I play hard video games. If you see it ever on youtube.com/@RJLee, you'll be able to see me play Sekiro, going through the boss gauntlet through that, completing that. So the new series, which we just kicked off earlier this week, was God Hand, a PS2 classic, a cult classic even. Maybe even like the cultiest of cult classics for the PS2, in my opinion. Great stuff. I even had half of mine. Maybe it's like, I might even play more of that tonight. But I've streamed for long enough, I think. So maybe we'll save God Hand for tomorrow, which is usually done on Fridays. Sometimes I alternate between the Rocksmith and the God Hand stuff, just depending what I feel like that day, right? And depending how much time I have. Obviously, Rocksmith, it's easier to do quick little spurts. So, again, thank you all. Thank you all so much for joining me today. Thank you all for everyone that has subscribed and has followed. Obviously, shout outs to Bro Simeon. Thank you for the new follow today. Always glad to have you. Thank you, Mariko. Always hanging out. Thank you, Adult Focus, My Hero Zero today, and thank you to Fonk, obviously. It's nice to always see you guys show up. Always warms my heart. So, all right, y'all. Thanks again. Tomorrow, God Hand, come check it out. We're gonna cut the feed, and then we'll come back and we'll rate someone, right? All right, y'all. Thanks again. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.